Hello, I am Bentham, and welcome back to Factorio in what may well be the final full episode of the series, because if you look in the top corner, we are now most of the way through Follow a Robot Count 20, and after that we only have the rocket defense research left to do, which doesn't take as long as this one, so there's not another 2 hours of research left, so I don't know what to call this. Is this the penultimate episode? It may well be. I'm not sure how the next episode's going to work, because it's going to be half normal, and then halfway through we're going to run out of research, and then the end is nigh. But anyway, we'll just get on with what we're doing today. So I'm checking up on the circuit system because I want this to be sort of properly, fully operational by the end of the episode. I want to make it so that we could, if we wanted to, rely entirely on this factory for the production of our circuits rather than combining it with the current production back home. So let's start off by adding in some more furnaces just to increase production, because at the moment all the furnaces are running at full pelts and it's not getting to the end of all the production lines, so we can add some in there. And I'm going to do the normal ratio of 4 iron smelters and then 6 for copper. So we just need to get some more substations on the end and so on for that, and connect up the belts and put in the inserters and so on. And once that's done, we will have our production even more than before. And I don't know whether we'll be approaching sort of the capacity of the 8 circuit assemblers we'll have at that point or not. It's hard to say, but we'll sort of have to see as things develop. So at the moment, the iron is actually built up, interestingly enough. So even though everything's supposed to be balanced, so that the circuits and iron are used up equally, it seems that iron is built up for whatever reason. So I might put in some more furnaces for copper. But anyway, we hop on board the circuit train, which is very nicely loaded now. I think it's got a good 5 stacks of circuits between the 2 carriages now, and it's a 40-second cycle, so it's fairly quick. So we make our way back to the base, we can resupply and so on. We need some more materials to make more furnaces and so on. Messing about with the modules as I often do, trying to keep up the supply of the level 1 and 2 efficiency modules, and then I find that there's something wrong with advanced circuits. The plastic supply has gone rubbish once again, as is becoming quite a frequent occurrence in this factory. So what we need to do is make our way over to the oil outpost and find out what's happening there. So we're on board the plastic train, working our way through that weird junction that we've got, and here's the loading area, and you can see there's a lot less supply than there usually would be, and the reason is a lack of petroleum gas, which I trace back to a lack of oil. It looks like our current oil outpost is no longer enough to keep things supplied. It's like the oil reserves that they have there have run down, and so we need to go and settle a new base. But the thing is that like, I used to think that there were tons of oil deposits right near the base, but looking at it now, all the ones that are still left are really tiny ones that have like 1 or 2 deposits to them. So what I decided to do is actually go and set up a new outpost quite a way off in the distance, where I've actually spotted a decently sized number of oil deposit things, whatever you call them. But anyway, we hop on board the circuit train because that is the direction we need to go in to get to the this prospective outpost. So off we go along our new sort of secondary rail system, and then we suddenly go on a weird detour down to copper and then back up again and carry on as we were. And as time goes on and we add more trains to this, I'm beginning to see more and more the sort of flaws of this design. There's just, like, it works as well, it looks nice, definitely, and on paper it seems alright, but unfortunately the pathfinding for trains isn't quite up to scratch to deal with this nature of system, and so there's a few problems with trains taking detours when they don't need to and things like that. Which is unfortunate. I mean, it may be that some extra work is done on train pathfinding later so that this system becomes a lot more viable, but at the moment it's just a bit of a weird design, really. I do like it, but I'm gonna do a different thing next time round, I think. But anyway, here's the deposit. We need a couple of poison what's-a-majigs to clear out the trees. I'm not cutting them down anymore because I can't be bothered with all the wood filling up my inventory. There's already 5 stacks of it there, and at the moment I don't have a chest for storing it because the last one got filled up. So we're crafting some pump jacks and various materials now. I meant to bring some pump jacks with me, but I forgot that was a thing, and so I'm having to craft them on site now, seeing as I'm here, and it's not worth going back again to pick them up because by the time I'm back home they'll be all crafted anyway. So what we need to do is get a little branch off the rail system. I'm actually doing a diagonal thing here, which I don't think I've done before on this system, even though it's an entirely normal sort of aspect of it. I like things to be all right angles and things like that, so everything's usually a 90 degree, but you can do diagonals on this and it works absolutely fine, really. Though it does mean that certain turns aren't possible, like a footy, well, what do you call it? Like that train there would have a bit of trouble turning onto the rails to go up to Iron Outpost 2, for example, because it would have to loop all the way around the loop, even though it's practically, you know what I mean. But anyway, we're putting in this new bit. It's similar to the way that we did the other Iron Outpost. It just sort of comes off as one big loop system because there's only ever one train going to run on it, so we might as well just make it nice and simple. Train just goes round and Bob's your uncle. Though it is possible that this will be used by a few trains, because there was that train before that went up all the way over to Iron Outpost 2 because it had a weird pathfinding thing. So maybe putting this in place will mean that trains go for this instead, which is good because it's quicker, and that will sort of help stop trains going missing for extended periods of time because they're up visiting Iron Outpost 2. So anyway, we've managed to get all our pump jacks in. It took the entire time there to craft it, as well as the other things that we needed for the outpost. So now we're just putting in the pipes to connect everything together, and there we go. So now we need some power to actually get the pump jacks running, so we just need a couple of pylons, and then we'll use a couple of substations for the loading, and also just powering all of the mining drills. Not mining drills, these are pump jacks. They're similar, they're 3x3, and they mine a deposit. It's basically the same thing. Oil miners, yeah. So anyway, we put in the modules that we need for it. We're actually, I think, we're very low on the level 2 efficiency modules now. And I start making my way back home because we need to go and resupply and so on. So I've just donned the some exoskeleton stuff, and then I managed to hop on board this coal train even as it passes, and back to base we go, get resupplied, check up on things, and we need some engines to actually make the train, because that was one of the things I realised while I was there. I didn't have any more engines on me, so I couldn't actually make the train that I needed to deliver the oil. So I named the station so that I can just now build this train and then plonk it down. Well, tell it to go to the station back over the oil deposit so that I can get there fairly easily. Anyway, grabbing some modules there because I forgot about those as I set off, and then we'll find our way over to the oil outpost. Cause I'm gonna set it up over here because that makes sense. It's where the train's gonna go. So we'll just stick it in this little side bit here. It does mean that if the other oil train parks, other trains can't get past, but that's fine. This is going to move in a minute. So I'm just sorting out the timings, and I realise I don't know what the timings are for my other oil train, so I wait for it to turn up. And it's 20 seconds at each station, so I set that up. And then off we go over to Oil Outpost 2, which is quite a circuitous journey. There's a lot of busy junctions to navigate. And indeed, when we get to this one, something weird happens. I'm not really sure what went on here. I think the train accidentally occupied the block in front of it, and then another train ended up in that same block, and everything just jammed up. Even though the train at the front could just set off if it wanted to, it didn't because it was a bit confused. Hopefully that was a one-off thing, because if that sort of thing happens again, then there's basically nothing you can do to fix that. It was basically a bit of a glitch. I guess the two trains had too much momentum, got some calculations wrong, and ended up both going over the line or something like that. But anyway, that's all sorted and seems like a fairly unlikely occurrence. So we're putting in all of these pipes here to get the oil connected up, and just 3 more in that bit there, and there we go. So now we have oil going into the assembler, and there it goes, making the filling them up, turning the oil barrels into actual barrels that have oil in them. So we wait for the train to turn up, and it gets filled up nicely. Do a bit of messing about with the I limit it so that it can only have 2 stacks of oil drums in it, because there is another train that we have to contend with. I don't want any messing up with that where it's... Oh, and there we go with follow robot count 20 there. The time is upon us. We're now researching rocket defense. The clock is ticking, and we've got less than an hour, I think, now before our time is finally up. But anyway, let's carry on with what we're doing. We're sorting out the oil stuff. We've got both trains now delivering to the oil outpost, which should hopefully once again increase the oil reserves, and then we just check up on the storage in this train. Interestingly enough, it's only got 9 barrels in it, and for a moment I'm really confused as to why. I wonder if I only put 1 stack in, but of course it's because this outpost is running down, so there's not as much oil coming through, so the barrels aren't actually being put into the train because they've not been filled. So after a quick check up on that, I'm happy with how that is. Make our way back over to the outpost. You see the trains are actually sort of, one train's blocking the other there, which hopefully is a temporary thing. They should get into a sort of a nice balance in their timings and stuff because of how they're set up. But anyway, we'll hop back on board the plastic train. Of course, the problem isn't fixed yet. We need a bit of time for things to catch up over there again. But hopefully, as time goes on, the plastic supply will increase once again and be able to keep advanced circuits running. Though, interestingly enough, later on in the episode, advanced circuit starts to build up anyway. So yeah, we're over here at circuit production, and it's time for a bit of a momentous occasion here. We are going to deconstruct half of the production because, you know, the circuit factory now is looking really good. It's being fairly reliable. And we've got 8 circuit assemblers working there, and they all seem to be doing a good job. So we don't need 8 over here anymore, because I don't think we need more than, say, 10 total circuit factories to keep everything supplied. So I just deconstruct half of them here because we don't really need them anymore, and hopefully we can eventually completely hand over to the circuit outpost and not have to rely at all on any factories back home, and then we could put something else there, like some more advanced circuit production or something like that. They're saying that it is the end pretty much, so I don't think I'd have enough time to do that, but I'm just sort of carrying on as if everything's normal, because there's stuff I want to get done. I want to get the circuit production going at full pelt, and I want to keep oil going and things like that. I probably need to do something about copper, because at the moment we're mining all of that in all of our outposts. But anyway, we're back over at the outpost at the moment. Copper is built up, which is interesting, because before it was iron, and then I added in a couple more furnaces for copper, and it's completely changed the balance. So I decided to change it again by adding in another 2 furnaces for iron. I mean, eventually what's going to happen is that there's going to be enough production so that they both build up, because all of the assemblers are working at full pelt, but for now it seems like we're not quite at that. But I think we're close. It seems fairly close. I could be wrong, but it's looking good. We're getting a lot of circuits coming through, and we've been able to deconstruct half the circuit production. So we'll make our way back over to the main base once again so that we can resupply and things like that. Have a quick look at the smelting, and you can see there's a lot of smelters switched off there, which is interesting. It does seem like parts of the factory are starting to wind down. It seems like it knows that it's almost time. But anyway, we're messing about with some alien artifacts. We're actually running we're running down on them a bit there, but we definitely have enough to finish off all the research now. And once again, fiddling with modules. We actually have, I think we had a few extra there for actually, I don't know if we did. At some point in the episode, we end up with a ton more modules than we're supposed to have. But anyway, we're over here at this little loop here. You thought I'd forgotten about it, didn't you? Oh no, I've still got plans for this. So this is going to be for delivering circuits halfway down the line, because of course, as you will have seen in previous episodes, there have been plenty of times where the circuits have been going at full pelt out of the factory and been pretty much filling up the belt at one end, but of course at the other end it's been siphoned off to a bunch of different systems, so everything's run down. So the purpose of this is that the train's going to pop into this this bit here for a short amount of time, deliver a few circuits to sort of resupply things halfway along the line, keep the line completely full all the way along if possible. So we're just going to connect it up. It's going to be a little sort of detour from the main line, and I just need to sort out the signals. They both begin with S. Well, they don't. They both begin with the same sound anyway. I'm just messing about with the signals here to sort of work out things, and I make sure I don't make the usual mistake I do of having one block inside another. Though actually I don't think that was the case anyway, but whatever. So we sort out the unloading now. We get some chests, we get some inserters, and then we get some blue belts going all the way down to the line. Then we need to work out how to actually maneuver them onto the line, and I decided to do this just after smart inserter production, because when that's going at full speed it really hoovers up a lot of the circuits that we have. So it's a good idea to replenish things just after there, because of course modules is still to come after that, so we want to make sure that there's still a lot going in to supply modules. Though at the moment the limiting factor for modules is entirely advanced circuits. So walking along back to the circuit outpost, it's pretty cool seeing all these trains flying along at night. There's so many going now, and the coolest thing about it is that everyone has a purpose, because you could make a rail network that just has them circling around and not doing anything, but the thing about this is that every single train is doing a job and needs to do that job for the factory to work, and yet there are so many of them, and it just looks so cool, and they work together fairly well. Okay, sometimes they don't, because it's still a bit rusty. But anyway, we've got the circuits now being delivered to along the middle part of the production line. At the moment it's not needed, because at the moment everything's being a bit weird and stuff, and I guess it's the factory shutting down, bits of it going, like the advanced, the level 3 module production is nearly done now. There's actually only a few more to be made, and then that will all go, and at that point the entire factory is just going to start really winding down. But anyway, I've decided to deconstruct yet another of the of the circuit producing arrays, or whatever you want to call them. So now we only have 2 circuit assemblers left. We're relying for the rest of it entirely on the new circuit outpost, which is pretty cool. So now we go over to the smelting area, and the thing is, because we've got barely any circuit production anymore at the main base, we don't need so much copper anymore, because that's like the main use of copper for making circuits. So it's time to actually deconstruct some of the smelting area after all this time. It's served us well, and there have been times where this has been running at absolutely full pelt, but you can see that now there's only a few smelters on the end that are still actually running, so I've disconnected it from the system, and eventually everything will run through and drain out, and then we can just start clearing away all of the smelters. And it's weird, even though it feels like everything's dying, even though a lot of it is just shifting from one place to another, sort of distributing production between 2 different factories, things like that. I mean, this is the main one by far, but it's not like it used to be, which is a shame. But anyway, looking at advanced circuit production, it's a bit interesting because it started building up. As I said before, it's all started backing up, even though the plastic supply isn't enough now. But now it is enough because it started backing up because Advanced Circuits has, and I've just dropped my phone. Ignore me. So yeah, we're hopped on board the circuit train again. I mean, it's gone the wrong way, but that's fine. We'll just. I said, what was I doing there? I think I just decided to take the circuit train from one bit of the production line to another. I am very lazy nowadays, with all these trains everywhere to hop on board. But anyway, we've got all of the copper ore is run down, so now we can start getting rid of all the furnaces. They all have 50 copper in them, or maybe 100 or something like that, so it's going to take a while for them all to drain out, but a lot of them have already emptied, and I can start clearing those away, making use of the advanced circuits somewhere else, not the level 2 modules. What am I saying? Yeah, they're all full of level 2 modules, of course. And the thing is, we've been having trouble recently, well, for a while now, where we've not been having enough of those being supplied to us, but suddenly we've got, like, stacks of them just around that we need to make use of. So I guess we can make use of them over here if I decide to build any more furnaces. At the moment, it's all running fine. I decide to hop on board this train here, which is, I believe, the iron train, goes over to Iron Outpost 1, because I've noticed that the iron ore is running down in the circuit outpost. So let's go see what's going on here. And there are a few mining drills run out now, so we probably need to build a few more. I think there's 5 that have run out, so I decided to add in another dozen on the end, just to keep things going. Because of course, as the more circuit production increases, the more we're going to need from this outpost, because at the moment this is the only outpost that supplies iron to the circuit production. I mean, we could change that by having some come from Iron Outpost 2, but at the moment I don't know if that's necessary. I think if we just upgrade this outpost enough, we'll get enough ore to keep the circuit production going nicely. And of course, with so much production being handed over to the circuit factory now, we can start having dedicated ore outposts for the iron, well, for the circuit production, rather than having circuit share the various outposts with other trains. Anyway, we're connecting everything up, making sure it all runs quickly, and it looks like there's actually a bit too much going on here. There's so much ore going along the lines that the blue belts are being filled on both sides, and what it looks like we need to do is actually add in another blue belt to keep the everything going at full speed. So I have to sort of get rid of this belt balancer system, because it doesn't work for two belts alongside each other. They have to have individual balancers. But yeah, we've got so much ore production coming from this outpost now that it's having to use 2 blue belts, which shows that if there's one thing that's not dead in this place, it's that one outpost there, because that's been going for so long now. Most of the series we've been getting our ore from there, and so much has happened since we started using that, but it just sort of never ends, that deposit. But anyway, we're back over at the copper smelters, and as you can see, there are a lot more that have run down now. It's getting close to the end. There's only a few left now that are just emptying out the last bits of copper there. There's 5 of those, and that's it. And you know, it's all winding down, it's all dying and stuff, even though the circuit factory's going better than ever. And well, I mean, I've only just built it, so there's not much time to compare it against. But anyway, we're going to go back over to the factory just to do some last minute looking around at stuff, checking everything's alright, because it's near the end now. We're coming to the last bit, the last part of the final full episode, checking up on modules. We've actually got too many of them now. We need to unload some of them, and we also have tons of blue belts from deconstructing the smelting area, so we need to unload those as well. There's only so many we can get rid of. We'll have to try and just use them in places. checking up my modules one last time, go over to resupply on the poison capsules, because I don't have them being delivered by logistics bots yet. And then I grab a couple more bits of weaponry, because I think I might be needing those soon. But anyway, after releasing some logistics bots for no particular reason, and checking the power grid, you can see there's a lot of... the power is dropping a lot, but anyway, it's the end now, so I shall say goodbye. Thank you for watching, and I shall see you next time.